Welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast with Scott McKenzie. Scott is a passionate industry professional dedicated to transferring cutting-edge, industry-focused innovations and trends while highlighting the men and women who keep the world moving. So put on your hard hat, grab your work boots, and let's go. As always, thank you very much for joining Industrial Talk, and thank you very much for your continued support. We celebrate industry professionals all around the world because you are bold, you are brave, you dare greatly, you innovate, you collaborate, you just are constantly focused on solving problems and making the world a better place. And of course, you make my life a better life. So thank you very much. That's why we celebrate you on Industrial Talk. Again, we are broadcasting from Xcelerate 23, Orlando, Florida, brought to you by those wonderful people at Fluke Reliability. Go check them out at Fluke. Is it FlukeReliability.com, or how do I get to Fluke Reliability there, Phil?
Fluke Reliability, yeah, it's emate.com, fluke.com, prooftechnic.com.
There it is, right there. Go there. Let's get cracking. That silky smooth voice is Bill Green.
Thanks for having me on, Scott.
Thank you for being here. It's been a great conference. Have you been having a good time?
It's been a great conference. So
I'm telling you, right? Here's the deal. It's not too big. It's not too small. It's just right. I don't know, because I can have conversations. I can meet with people. You giggle a little bit, talk about a problem, solve the problem. It's been good. So is that your feedback?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so when we first started this, I mean, it's been at least 10 years. And we started this before the acquisition as eMate, and then post-acquisition it's just continued. And it started small, right? It started almost as a user group conference where we had, 20, 30 people. We actually hosted it at a customer site, did a tour, used their facilities, and then it really started taking off, right? Customers want this. Customers want to interact with each other. Customers want to interact with the people at Fluke that they deal with. And it slowly started to grow. So I think this size, though, is excellent. You walk around, you see people, and they remember you from the night before.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I mean, we've all been to big ones, and we've all been to small ones.
Yes.
And I don't know. Maybe I said I might be drinking the Kool-Aid, but quite frankly, it's like, yeah, all right. It's great to connect. But before we get into any conversations about the user community, I think the listeners would like to know a little bit about Bill. Can you give us a little background on who you are?
Yes, my name is Bill Green, as you guys all know now.
Silky smooth voice. Blah, blah, blah.
I'm the Vice President of Customer Success here at Fluke Reliability. I've been with Fluke/eMate for about 13 years now. So I started with eMate 13 years ago. It was at the time, we were 20, 30 people at the organization, so small organization. And startup, right, in the CMS world. And we grew that. I've done a lot of different roles in that space. I do not have an industrial background, but I got one very quickly working with these customers, learning. And I quickly realized that my favorite thing to do, my passion, is helping our customers solve problems, but just embedding myself in that life. So, especially that first time, I remember the first time I went to a customer site and just walking around the plant with them, pointing out different problems. And, one of the reasons why I think this conference is so great is, and I tell this story to all my team, is that, the customer was having a problem with, I forget what the specific issue was, but it was a number of button clicks that they had to go through in the application. Yeah,
don't even go down that road. I mean, you know as well as I do, if it's like one additional click, I'm jettisoned. I'm gone. I'm out of here.
Well, and not understanding the situation, I was like, okay, like it's one click. Like, come on, like what's the problem here, guys? What's the problem here? And then literally a month later, I'm with this individual. I'm at the plant floor, and we're walking around, and he's showing me. We're walking through the process, and we're seeing it. We're seeing like the multiple times, and we're seeing it done 1,000 times a day, and we're seeing it done millions of times a year by all the individuals. I'm like, all right, those extra button clicks can add up. I get the pain now. I understand it. Why this is so painful for you?
Yeah, I that whole user experience, being an old system implementer, a long time. PeopleSoft, I know. You're saying to yourself, oh my gosh, Scott. But it was a beast
And we always had the conversation is like, well, we can't do that. Oh, no, we can't modify that field. Oh, you're going to have to do it that way. And no, we weren't very focused on the user experience. One question. Define customer success. What does that look like to you?
That is great. So I think a lot of times people see the title and, yes, I have a team. And yes, we have, we work from support, implementation, training, and education, our professional services teams. They all fall under the customer success umbrella. But ultimately, customer success isn't just a fancy title for a department or a buzzword title. I think ultimately what we try to do and what I do is customer success is throughout the organization, right? If our product is not easy to use, then the customers aren't going to be successful. So we have to work with the product team, have to get that feedback, that customer feedback back to them. If our sales team is selling to customers that really shouldn't be using the software, then they're not going to renew with us, right? So our job, ultimately, at its core, is in the title. Our job is to ensure our customers are successful with our product. It's to get that adoption, it's to get the results, and that's ultimately what all of our jobs are.
Now, with that said, what makes this event so unique from my perspective is that it is steeped in the user community. Of course, I'm looking into the conference hall, and I see a lot of the Fluke products and the solutions, and then there's, of course, the third-party providers, and then there's this user community. At events like this, do you just sort of gauge the temperature these individuals want to learn? What have you been hearing from the user community about eMate and all of the products?
Yeah, so we have, we've been working on and we have launched our next generation product, the X5.
X5, a more robust scheduling tool too. I did a little sprint over there, and it's like, yeah, that's more robust.
Give me the highlights. Yeah. Give me the highlights. And so our customers are tenured with us for a long time. So we have customers that are like, and I'm introducing them to different people, and we talk about X5 and it was X4, and before that there was X3, and so a lot of, X4 was the system when we got acquired by Fluke. So a lot of people here, especially the Fluke people, were like,
"Oh, so that was the system."
That was the system.
Oh, but if that was 13 years ago, right? 13, 14?
Six years ago when we got acquired. 13 years ago when I started.
There you go. Okay, yes. So 6 years. Got it. Never mind.
We iterate a little bit quicker than that.
I was just going to say, my gosh.
A little bit quicker than that.
I'm trying to do the math here.
So so our customers, they want to get it. I mean, you hear every customer that I've talked to, right? They are seeing what's coming up with X5, and they're like, I think sometimes change can be scary, right? So they're having a very successful product. They've rolled it out to their guys. It's adopted. Yeah. So they're like, okay, another upgrade, like that could be scary. But they're seeing the benefits that could potentially come from it. But they're saying, hey, look what else I can do. So they're making plans, right? They're talking about, okay, we need to take this back and figure out what's our game plan to move over to this next generation platform.
But is it not a cloud-based system? It's
correct.
It's like, so they're given the fact that it's in the cloud, given that's where the platform resides, then you're able to sort of also make, shall I say, tweaks on the fly.
Absolutely.
Because it resides in the cloud. Mm-hmm. So this next X5, launch is a significant modification to the core system.
X4 is in the cloud too. So the good news is, they're both. Everything's in the cloud. It's all cloud based on the eMate side.
Yeah.
X5 really, the way I've been telling customers is that eMate is steeped in history, right? So the founder started this company 30 years ago, and went through multiple iterations of what that looks like.
Yeah.
And when the core of where X4 is built off of, and it's built off of X3, but the functionality there, you're talking about 15 years of iterations, 15 years of consistently building up on that tower. And so some things might not be architected in the best way, some climbing up that, because the industry changes, reliability changes. People want to go deeper into asset criticality, and hey, what does that look like? Yeah. So let's make sure that functionality is there. People want to be able to better track failure codes and different things. Okay, let's make sure that functionality is there. So that's all continuously built on for X3 and X4 system. X5, it's kind of like, hey, if you could start all over again, What would you do differently? How would you make it so it's that much better? So not saying like that everybody started fresh, but it was like, hey, we were able to take a fresh outlook on this and say, hey, all these learnings, all these things that our customers love, how can we make them that much better and more intuitive and more built in as base core functionality that's there? And that's really where X5 is born out of.
And the X5, I guess, launch and platform is reflecting the user community. There's that feedback. There's that dialogue. Being a customer success individual, you having those conversations and saying, okay, we like this scheduling tool, but it would be better if it did this. And do you have sort of multiple conversations saying, oh, I see a common theme in that side of the solution, and then we're going to do. How do you guys make that decision?
So ultimately, the customers drive all that, right? So like I think a lot of the times like people talk about like innovation, and sometimes you see people that are just leaders in organizations just making change, like, hey, this is what the people want. But ultimately, the changes that we have here, we have a product management team. There's 7 or 8 individuals here, strictly on our product management team. They're driving the roadmap. They are executing on those pieces throughout Fluke Reliability's tool set, right? And they are talking with customers almost as much as anybody else at this organization. So like, they work with developers, they drive the roadmap, but they're on with the phone with customers multiple times a day to help influence and drive that piece. If we develop something, or we come out with something that we think is cool and no one else enjoys and it's not adoptable, then it just sits. Then it's a pretty paperweight on the shelf.
Yeah, and it's a common tale. Let's put it that way. That's happened before.
Yes, it has.
In this Xcelerate 23, are you getting a sense of other things that are? What's that future look like? What are people really talking about? Because you've got an incredible user community, industry, whatever. Just what are you hearing going forward?
I think at its core, like removing any silos. I mean, that's been a common theme across the board. Removing any siloed barriers. Whether it be to processes, whether it be to people, whether it be to, and then most importantly, the data, right? The amount of times I'm still surprised that our customers are capturing data, condition-based data, that they can never access. Like literally, the data is being collected and they can't get to that data, whether it's on, because they don't have the code to get into the system.
Is it in another system, or it's like okay, I've got my CMMS right here. It's in that system, and then of course, I'm collecting all the data on that asset, but the two are not talking.
Right. Or 3 systems, and I'm doing double entry, triple entry, quadruple entry. And
yeah.
There was a time where that might have been acceptable. There was a time where that was, that's so difficult. Like, that's a dream state. This is table stakes now, right? And our customers are expecting that. You know why? This is the case.
Because it's the World Wide Web.
That funky, that little finicky thing.
Yeah, that's right. And they're out there saying, hey, I see the World Wide Web telling me I need to be more digitally enabled business, and I better do that. And
that's and speaking of the digital piece too, right? I think I'm seeing more and more. You hear the buzzword, and I call the buzzwords out when I try to see them, and I try to avoid using the fancy buzzwords because people get caught up on that. But one thing that's common, I think it's being more and more adopted. People, process, and technology, right? So people use those 3 terms, and great. We have solutions. We have the technology piece that's here, and I think there are certainly, for a long time, I feel like people thought technology by itself would be a magic wand and solve the problems. Yeah. Hey, we're gonna go get a CMS. We're gonna go get a Fluke camera. We're gonna go get something, and boom, problem solved. No issues.
Let me tell you a story. When I was working to start up a sugar refinery,
okay,
and the big buzz with we need to be a reliability organization. So what does that mean? Well, I need that IR, I need that vibration, I need those tools to be able to perform my analysis of these assets. And you know what happened? They were just in the cube. Nobody used them. They just stayed there. right there. So I hear what you're saying. Don't do that.
Don't do it. It's just
Just figure it out. People, process, and technology. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I do. It's always a people equation, right?
People's a big part of that equation.
It's huge.
It's a big part of that equation.
Yeah.
Again, and we try to influence more. Like I talked to my team. Again, back to what customer success is. My guys, a lot of people on my team's job is to make sure the customer's successful, and so they'll come and say, "Bill, I can't." They're not. They're having trouble getting the users to adopt. Because the process isn't there to get them to leverage this, or hey, their process is all over the place, right? They're doing this, they're just. I'm like, okay. So yes, we have the technology, and that's our piece of it. But how we have to be able to influence, right? Because if the technology by itself and the other things aren't there, the technology is going to fail, and then ultimately we fail.
Yeah.
So we're working on different ways of how we can influence this. Whether it's conferences like this where they can, and we have individuals up on stage talking about where they won, specific actions where they took away, say, hey, we had a people problem, and these are the 3 things that we did to start that journey, or we had all over the place. So.
I think the holy grail to a certain extent, and I put my, let's say I'm a manufacturer, things are spinning, moving, and all that good stuff. When I start to think about me to be more reliability centered, not reliability centered, it's just reliability centered, a culture that is pursuing reliability, asset management, really truly doing that. I'm looking for something that enables it, but from a simplistic point of view. I want, please, I've got complexity over here. Give it to me in a simple way, and if that's the pursuit, I'm all in.
That's great. It's got to be simple.
It's got to be.
This has got to be people. It's got to be simple.
When you were talking about that one additional click, that's why when I go to websites, they have a little pop-up. Hey, do you want to talk to me? I'm just looking at your website, and now I've got to click on that little X over to the top, and now you're asking me to do that. How dare you? How do people get a hold of you?
You guys email me, bill.green@fluke.com. Very easy. And it's been great, Scott.
All right. That's Bill Green. He's great. Fluke Reliability is the company. We are once again broadcasting from Xcelerate 23. And if you're not here, you need to be here next year. Fluke 24. I don't have any. I know it's just in 24.
24.
But I have no date or month. It's in 24. But put that on your calendar. Be on the lookout for information about that event. You got to be here. Incredible people trying to solve problems and having great conversations. All right. You're great. We're going to have all the contact information for Bill.
You're great, Scott.
No. Shut the front door. All right. We're going to be back with all the contact information for Bill, so stay tuned. We will be right back.
You're listening to the Industrial Talk Podcast Network.
How about that for a conversation? Another great conversation coming from Xcelerate 2023. Put that on your calendar. Reach out to Bill Green. You will not be disappointed because he is that type of guy, and he wants to help you succeed. And because of his extensive knowledge, I guarantee you he can. Bill Green, absolutely a must connect. And it's all going to be out on industrialtalk.com, so don't, fear not, because it's where it's at. All right, another thing that I wanted to point out, at this particular event, we were very fortunate to be able to connect with an organization called Mercy Chefs. All out on Industrial Talk. Their sole purpose is delivering high-quality meals to locations that have been impacted by whatever devastation, earthquake, hurricane. It is an incredible story, and they were there because Fluke said, hey, let's give back. Fluke, get back. Right there. Make it happen. Reach out to them. All right. We're building a community. We're building a community that is dedicated to you industrial professionals, and the platform is dedicated to collaborating and educating and, of course, innovation. But please, go out there, get engaged, find the podcast, I've got the YouTube. I got everything out there for you to learn, because you got to learn, because it's happening fast. So that's Industrial Talk, and I really appreciate your consideration on connecting. And if you want to be on the show, go out to Industrial Talk. I keep on saying that just because that's the best place to go. And say, Scott, I want to be on the show. Let's talk about it. Happens all the time. So do that, because I want to talk to you. All right, be bold, be brave, dare greatly. Put that Xcelerate 2023 on your calendar, and you will not be disappointed. We're going to have another great conversation shortly from that event, so stay tuned.